First, this Sharia, with every act which is obligatory and wajib, has also recommended certain sunnat which recompenses any fault which we might have committed in the obligatory prayers. Those are called sunnat or mustahabbat, but they are not secondary in their importance. The dua which you read after namaz is sunnat, it's not wajib. Azan and iqama itself is not wajib. But there are many sunnat things we do which has been strongly recommended so that it recompenses, it makes good, it makes amends for anything that is lost out or missed out, knowingly or unknowingly, from things which are wajib and obligatory. One of the things that we miss out always and for which we are constantly being blamed and accused is the Nafila with our daily prayers. Imam Hasan Askari salawatullah wasalamu alayh was asked about one of the signs of the Shias. He said one of the signs of the Shias is that when he reads the surah in the namaz, which like Dhuhr and Asr does not require reciting surah loudly, when he reads the surah in such namaz, he recites Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim loudly. To recite Bismillah loudly in the prayers where otherwise the surah is silently read is one of the signs of the followers of Ahlul Bayt. The other sign is the ziyarat of Arba'in. And other sign is to use sajdagah of Karbala for sajdah. Only a follower of Ahlul Bayt will do it. If there is no love for Ahlul Bayt and there is no knowledge of the teachings of Ahlul Bayt, there you will not find sajdagah of Karbala. Such a man might be ready to do sajda on the dirty carpet of a mosque, but he will not use the sacred tablet which has come from Karbala. That he will not like. And other sign of a mu'min and a follower of Ahlul Bayt is that he recites Nafila with every Salat that he offers. Now that Nafila, in Arabic, it means supplementary. When we were in school, when we were young, when we gave in our papers, before we gave in our papers, we were told by the teacher, look, marks are reserved for clean work. Marks are reserved for methods. If you are doing a mathematical paper, your answer may be wrong, but if your method shows that you have understood the problem, and as you advance one after the other, if your method is correct, we will give you the marks. The answer may be wrong, but if the answer is given correct, and we know that the method is not correct, then that means you have copied from somebody. So you are given your marks for cleanliness, for good handwriting, for so many things which are called supplementary. In the same way, when I miss out something in my wajib namaz, I am given a supplementary sawab by the sunnat I do. This is why the Prophet said that after namaz maghrib, which is 3 rakat, pray 4 rakat nafila, 2 by 2. If anything is missing from maghrib, inshallah this nafila will make it good. And then he said, by all means try not to miss the 2 rakat of nafila after Isha. which is called watira, sitting down. Even if you missed out all the others, don't miss that one, which is only 2 rakat, sitting after namaz-e-isha. These are 2 after namaz. For namaz-e-subuh, it is 2 rakat before. And it has got a psychological and a scientific reason. If you wish to try, try. Early in the morning as I rise for namaz, shaitan is just ready to switch on. Early in the morning when I rise, I had a very good sleep. Everything was in my subconscious or unconscious mind. Just as I rise, the first question is in my mind, the problem of dunya. Today, I had to write somebody's check. I have to receive somebody's payment. I have to make some collections. I have to find out this. I have to find out that. Early morning. The Prophet said, early morning as you rise from your bed and place your feet on ground, say, Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil, ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. He is sufficient for me. He is my best master and best helper. And then come out and do not think of the worldly affairs and problems till you have finished your 2 rakat of namaz-e-subuh. Leave it in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because shaitan wants you to start the day with the worries. Do not allow him. Start with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So first 2 rakat of Nafila, if you try, you will find it allows you to bring back your thoughts. First, it is sunnat namaz. In that namaz you will have so many problems. Market, wife, children, transport, business, problems, whatever. But by the time you have finished your 2 rakat of Nafila and you are ready for namaz-e-subuh, you will find at least you have collected your mind. So what I suggest is that it is a matter of 2 minutes or 3 minutes more, but if all the mu'mineen agree and if there is no inconvenience, then from now onwards we must allow after namaz-e-maghrib at least and namaz-e-isha 5 minutes extra for mu'mineen who wish to do nafila, unless people find it very, very inconvenient. Otherwise, inshallah, this nafila habit will help us a lot. It is for thawab, and inshallah it will recompense whatever we miss out in the wajib. That is one. Second thing, for which I have repeatedly drawn the attention of mu'mineen in authority whenever they are, that this Jamaat now needs an Alim. I have said this repeatedly. And I say this now from Mimbar, that we need an Alim. We need an elderly Alim. An Alim who is Alim in true sense of the term. To whom ladies and gents, whenever they are in difficulty, they can refer. Most of you do not know how many problems we have already for which telephones come, and it is a matter of gratification and satisfaction that so many ladies and gents ask masail. Otherwise, who would care? But there is got to be someone who will answer the masail, the questions, but answer them correctly. Not like the experience we have had in the month of Ramadan, when from the mimbar somebody said that if you have injections, your roza is batil. People went on getting injections and started eating. If an alim is such that he does not know even this mas'ala, that having injection does not make your roza batil, We don't want such ignorant people. We want alim in the true sense of the term. We don't want ulama of that sort of type and pretense who, after having shown the mas'ala, keep the people in the dark, and then we have got to adjust it. And then people say that Mulla Asghar is against every Maulvi. We are not against any Maulvi, but we are against those who misguide. And this is a matter of fiqh, and I am the last man to care on this earth about anybody, because people think a lot that this man perhaps is being paid by Stanmore. I should like to make it clear that I am not being paid, and that I don't care for your payments, and this mimbar is not my monopoly. I will leave it the day you don't want me to sit on this mimbar, and I shall be a happier man. Don't think that this is my monopoly. So try to straighten your thinking before you write and you talk. I am not your slave, nor am I your servant. I am a loving brother and a member of this community. The day you don't want to listen to me, tell me, I will go. Don't worry about it. But don't talk to me the way you talk to your slaves and servants. You need an alim who knows fiqh, an alim who knows masail. One man goes to an alim and asks, my daughter, who is not even 9, has seen blood. What do you say? The Maulvi tells him now she is baligh because she has seen blood. This is monthly course. He does not know that any girl who sees blood before the age of 9, that blood is not hayd, it is istihada or anything else. You don't become baligh. Blood is hayd only after the age of 9. And that Maulana put that parent into a problem. We want an alim who has taqwa and who has adala. And when he sits there in mihrab, the young people of this community and the elderly, by merely looking at his face, will turn from deviation into the right path. He will become the example for us. We want an alim who may not go on mimbar. He may not be a good zakir. He may not talk our language. But we want an alim who will guide even those who sit on mimbar, so that if we make mistakes, he is the one who watches us and we refer to him. But such an elderly alim was there in Zanzibar. Such an elderly alim was there in Bombay. And we have seen the effect of such great ulama who have controlled all mass of the community onto the right path. We need an alim. Whether he comes from India or Pakistan, or he comes from Iraq or from Iran, is immaterial. What is material is the existence of an alim who acts as a proper mediator between the marja and the people. For this, I leave an appeal. Last thing is, I have been talking about akhlaq, and tonight we will slightly deviate, but of course we will be on the same subject. One of the greatest qualities of a human being is to be able to keep quiet. It sounds very simple. To be able to keep quiet. The Prophet ﷺ said, if speech was silver, then silence was golden. That means to be able to know when not to say something and to control one's speech is one of the greatest qualities of human being. Sheikh Saadi has said, تا کس سخنی نگفته باشد عیب و هنرش نهفته باشد. Unless someone has not spoken something, you cannot know whether this man is really very learned or he is ignorant. His good qualities, bad qualities, his knowledge, his ignorance is hidden because. And then he says, Harbisha, Guma mabar ke khalist, shayad ke palang khufta bashad. And when you see that there is a silent jungle where there is no voice heard, don't think that it is an empty jungle. Somewhere there might be a lion. That means if you find a man quiet, don't try to underestimate him. Somewhere within him there might be a genius. So, to be able to control one's speech, there is one anecdote in history of Islam. Abu Hanifa is an Imam of Ahlul Sunnah. He was sitting explaining the Masail of Ramadan to his students, and one gentleman just entered. He was so sober, so silent, that Abu Hanifa was impressed, and not only impressed, but he in his mind started thinking that this must be a very learned man, and today if I talk, I must talk very responsibly. So he went on explaining one after the other all the Masail, but at the same time under the influence of the man who had come, thinking that a very great learned man has come, doesn't say anything, don't know. When everything was over, he very politely and gently told the guest, Mr. So-and-so, would you like to tell something to my students? Thinking that this must be a great learned man. And the fellow said, well, I don't want to talk to your students, I want to ask you a question. So Abu Hanifa was really terrified that this is going to be my own test. He said, yes, you can. He said, you said that fast must be broken when the sun sets. I said, yes. Suppose a day comes when the sun does not set. When he asked that question, Abu Hanifa, rather than answering him, started beating his own chest and said, I wish I knew that I was talking in presence of a fool. All the time you impressed me that you are very learned by your silence. So sometimes silence pays. When you can be taken as a very, very clever person while you might not be. But why? Because Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullah salamu alayhi says, O men, do not say that which you do not know. Do not speak of that which you do not know. And then he says, and I will add, this is what Imam says, and I will add, do not speak all that you know. First is, do not speak that which you do not know. And the second is, I add, do not speak all that you know. There are things which you know, but you do not speak. And there are things which you do not know. Please do not speak about it. Because there is always a difference of 4 fingers. You have not seen, you are hearing. وَلَيْسَ الْبَيَانْ كَالْعَيَانِ. Whatever you hear is not like what you see. And therefore, sometimes people say something, they speak, it becomes allegation, it becomes tuhmat, it becomes an accusation, which of course involves guna. Therefore, do not speak unless you know, and do not speak all that you know, because sometimes it may create an impression which might be false. For this reason, one has to be very careful and discerning before he talks. The second thing, do not talk about things you do not know, means do not lie. The mother of all evils is kidb, lie. Which of course has become so ordinary that today, if I want to speak a lie, I say Wallah. Wallah. Not knowing that Wallah is the only official oath in Islam. Official oath is Wallahi, Billahi, Tallahi. If you go to the court of Islam, you will not be asked to say मेरे बाप की कसम और मेरी माँ की कसम, आपके सर की कसम, बत्ती की कसम. And some people are so funny, oh, cigarette mara हाथ में से ना कसम. Yes. If a cup of tea is there, roji je saame, roji na kasam. All these are buffooneries. They have no meaning whatsoever in Sharia. In Sharia there is only Wallahi, Billahi, Tallah. And while this is an official thing, kasam, if it is a lie coupled with this sort of oath, that man commits gunah kabira and is liable for kafara. He must pay kafara. And if Allah does not accept his istighfar, he is accountable for that on the day of Qiyamah, for having sworn officially to speak a lie. So lie, it has become a part of our life. To speak lies first, because I want to impress, I speak lies. Two, because I want to save my skin, I speak lies. Third, because I want to please, I speak lies. I know that you don't have the quality which I am trying to attribute to you. Lies. जनाब आप जैसा दुनिया में कोई पैदा नहीं हुआ, हाँ? तुम सा नहीं देखा. We haven't seen one like you. In 1,000 years, no mother has given birth to a child like you. All this is nonsense. I know it. But that flattery is a lie, trying to please someone in order to get out of him some favor. It's a lie. Is it not a lie? It's a lie. Kid. And one of the kidb is to attribute to the Prophet and A'immah salamullah alayhim ajma'een any hadith or any riwayah or any tafsir unauthenticated and say this is the meaning of the ayah, or this is the meaning of interpretation of the ayah, or this is what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, is a kidb if he did not say. And the Prophet said this in his lifetime. I am hearing things ascribed to me which I never spoke. I say, Ya Rasulullah, this hadith of yours has given people like us a tremendous satisfaction, because when they could not leave you, how will they leave us? When people spoke about you while you had not said it, then people like us sinners, if people attribute to us things which we never do or which we never say, we are satisfied. The Prophet said, I hear stories ascribed to me, I haven't spoken. Whoever speaks or attributes to me a lie which I have not said, he should find his place in Jahannam. فَلْيَتَبَوَّأَ مَقْعَدَهُ فِي النَّارِ. People attributed so many things to the Prophet, to Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. And a bulk exists even today. All lies attributed to Imam and the Prophet. And there is a bulk of Israeliyat, that means Jews and Christians together have introduced so many stories in Islam which have got no basis, and people read this and think it is Islamic, while it is not Islamic. They are all lies. And how far can a lie take a man? That some people, in the name of the virtues, have spoken lies. Now I'm going to come into a very sensitive subject, where people have made lie a virtue. Example. Ayatollah Khouy writes in his book Al-Bayan that there were people, when they saw that Muslims are not reading Quran anymore, as they are not today. Even in the month of Ramadan we don't. There are people who are very virtuous people, they introduced fabricated hadith, lies, which says, whoever reads this surah will get 2,500 hur. How many? Not one, huh? Whoever reads this surah will get 2,500 hur. Each hur will be in a palace of pearls. Each pearly palace will have 1,000 gates, and each gate will, oh my goodness, if you went on counting, it is surely bigger than the whole world. All that for one surah. And this sort of hadith has been reported in many books. Ayatollah Khouy writes that this was nothing but a fabrication, lies in the name of the Prophet. The Prophet never said this. Whenever these people were asked, they used to answer, we are doing these lies for the good of religion, because we want people to read Quran. The answer was, it is enough to tell them the truth, and they will read the Quran. Don't tell them lies. You are making a mockery out of it. There are people who come and say, I dreamt that Hazrat Abbas came in my house. Therefore, from today, because I saw him in this corner, therefore in this corner, now the ladies of the community come there and make nazar and minnat. Bid'ah, bid'ah, bid'ah. He never dreamt Hazrat Abbas, but he is trying to make a lie a virtue. There are ladies who say that we saw Bibi Fatima praying in my house here, therefore this is Musalla of Bibi Fatima, and the ladies of the community come there and do nazr and mannat. Bid'ah, walal, kufr, shirk. But these are all lies which are fabricated in the name of religion. Whoever does this is responsible on the day of Qiyamah. And the worst part of lies is to speak a lie so as to accuse someone and to smear somebody's name. Remember one thing, the wound inflicted by the tongue is too difficult to heal. You can see the wounds of swords and knives heal up, but the wound of tongue, very difficult to heal. तबर का, तीर का, तलवार का तो घाव भरा, लगा जो जख्म ज़बां का, रहा हमेशा हरा. That which you hit with sword and wound with knife and all that, that can heal. But the wound inflicted by the tongue remains green forever. With the lies that we speak against people to assassinate the character once and for all, we think that we are absolved and exonerated. And on the day of judgment, this will be counted as haqqun nas, and haqqun nas will not be forgiven. There is no tawbah. If I have taken your haqq, whether it is your money, whether it is your reputation, whether it is your prestige, whether it is your integrity, whether it is your sanctity, whatever haqq of yours I might have usurped, unless you forgive me, Allah will not forgive. Will not forgive. Will not. Because he says, I have no right to forgive that which belongs to somebody else. Whatever you have wronged here, I will forgive. But what you wrong the others, seek forgiveness. And if that man whose ghibat you have done, whose accusations you have taken, does not forgive you, you cannot be forgiven. On the day of Qiyamah, he has a right to demand even your good deeds to be transferred to his Namayama. Now, this will happen on the day of Qiyamah. Who has seen it? Mullah Sahib, have you? I say one thing. A society which feeds on dirt like lies. Can it go further? Our great mujtahid, Sayyid Muhsin al-Hakim, rahmatullah alayh. I have been there at least 4 times. Many Mu'mineen have been to him more than 4 times. But 4 times I have been. And I know that people were talking against him, accusing him that this man, that is Ayatullah al-Hakim, has used hundreds and hundreds of thousands of tuman to get his daughter married. It was a lie. Someone came and said that the chakri, you know what, the wooden sandal that we say, chakri. They give chakri, they used to give chakri to the daughters when they get married. You know why? There's no need to elucidate, but they used to give. They used to give wooden chakri to the daughters when they used to go for marriage. It was said that Agha Hakim gave a golden chakri pair to his daughter. All lie. But every time that somebody came and spoke to Agha, they say this about you. They say this about you. Agha used to bow down. I was there once. And he raised his head and said, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And then he kept silent. One thing. These young boys and girls who have gone to Iran and somewhere for 2 years, and they have come back, they speak Arabic and something of Persian, they think they have become mujtahid. And because they can sit on mimbar and talk, therefore they think that they can say whatever they like. And this is the tragedy of not having an alim. If we had an alim, then these would be responsible for what they speak. You don't become an alim by talking Arabic language. If that was the case, every Arab would have been an alim. When I was in Form 3 or Form 4, I could not speak English, even to my headmaster. But my daughter today, who was in pre-kindergarten, whatever they call it, she speaks better English than I do. It is the environment that teaches you. You are brought up in Arabia, you speak Arabic. You are brought up in Iran, you speak Persian. You are brought up in India, you speak Indian. You are brought up in Africa, you speak Swahili. You are brought up. Then, of course, you master and command the language. Then, of course, you are a master of that language. But you don't become MA, PhD or double B, whatever you are, simply because you know the language. हैं? आप BA पास हैं तो हम BB पास हैं. Akbar Allahabadi said, आप BA पास हैं तो हम BB पास हैं. So, one of the students wrote a letter to Ayatullah al-Khui, who is alive. A man who has conducted Dars-e-Kharij, that means the Dars for Mujtahideen, for the last 60 years. How many? 60. and a man under whose tutelage and tuition more than 1,000 mujtahids are there in the world. How many of the mujtahideen in Qom and everywhere proudly say, I am a student of Ayatullah al-Khoy. A man who has reached the age of 94, bihamdillah ta'ala, and may Allah keep him for long. One student, after having studied Arabic and here and there nitty gritty, writes a letter to Ayatullah al-Uzama, Naib Imam, that you are a spy, an agent. You gave ring to Queen Farah Diba when she came to Iraq. That letter which reached Agha would have upset him and wounded him. This is kidh. This is what lies can do. And Agha answered that letter. And that letter came to me because the girl who had written that letter to Agha did not put her address. And I knew the girl and the family. And Agha entrusted it to me as his wakil to find out and hand over. And I handed over. Agha says, Inna qadiyat al-khatam. Surely the anecdote or the story of this ring, kidhbun waftira, it is kidhb, lie, and it is an allegation upon me. It has never happened. Wallahu ahkamul hakimeen. And on the day of judgment, Allah will be the best judge. That is the habit. Why don't we form the habit of listening the other part before we finally make a judgment? I heard about you. Is it true? Am I justified that the moment I hear against you, I start propagating it? Is it true to Islamic spirit? Or if I would like to indulge into it and engage myself into it and take interest, is it not my duty to ask the other party whether it is true or not? Am I in any way given the authority to make an arbitrary judgment, one-sided? So, the famous scholar, Sheikh Rada Tabasi, in his book, Ash-Shi'atu wal-Raj'ah, somewhere, I have read that book years ago, I cannot give you the page number, says that Abu Hassan Isfahani, our mujtahid who died in 1945, on 9th of Zilhijj, one day before Eid al-Hajj, the great mujtahid, just before Agha Burujardi, so many circulars came out anonymously against him. So many. All full of nothing but fabrication. And every time it was brought before him, he read it, tore it off and said, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. This has never happened. I have never said this. I have never done this. But there is a limit to everything. One day, coming back from Samarra after ziyarat, he came home and he told his servant that today I feel so exhausted and tired that I would not like to see anyone for at least 3-4 hours. Do not wake me up unless it is absolutely necessary. If any moment comes and says it is a matter of life and death, then of course you will wake me up. Otherwise, try to postpone it for 3-4 hours. And just as he went to sleep, Hardly half an hour had passed. One gentleman entered, and the servant said, Agha has just gone for resting, and you will come in the evening. He said, I have an important message. It is a matter of urgency. He said, Agha has said that he would like this to be postponed if possible. He said, no, wake him up. When our elders said, Nadan dost karta dana dushman saro, they were really very wise when they said this. It is better to have a wise enemy than a foolish friend. So, Agha was awakened, and he came there. Agha said, yes, brother, what can I do for you? He said, Agha, another circular has come out against you. Now that was the only important thing he wanted to. He wanted to be the first to break the news. He said, Agha, this is it. Agha said, let me see. He saw it. And that was the first time that Agha said, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un, and he wept. And he wept for nearly 10 minutes. And he said, for how long am I going to be the target of lies? Lies. And then he went to sleep, and in that sickness he died. Never recovered. So gentlemen, when we want to do Amr bil Ma'ruf, we do it like men. We don't do it like cowards. Right? We do it like friends. We don't do it like enemies. These flyers and letters which come anonymously, they smear the character of people, sometimes even full of lies, sometimes full of half-truths. Whatever be the case, is actually creating facade, and it is creating an atmosphere of lies. If there is someone who really wants to conduct Amr bil Ma'ruf, then it has got to be done man to man, heart to heart, face to face. We sit down. But when I said this, I said it earlier also, that we have named no one, and therefore please don't try to implicate this member and myself into anything. What I have said is that we might not advocate revolutions. We do advocate change. If I am an embezzler, if I have embezzled, if I am vicious, if I have some vices, whatever it may be, I don't want to name it, then the gate of Tawbah has not closed down. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I haven't shut the door of Tawbah. What is required is repentance, and to say that we will not do it again. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives, and we will forgive. But this means there is a change. And a man can change. The living example of change is Hur. Changed. Imam Hussein never reminded him that you are the person who brought me here. Had it not been for you, my children would have died, not died of thirst. Never reminded him. Over. So either there is a way of doing it, but if someone believes that he can do whatever he likes, regardless of his ill practices and ill conduct, and there is no one to touch him, and he will continue doing it, and he wants to see what we can do, then we are prepared for it. Then for that test of strength, I am ready to fight. Up to the last drop of my blood. and up to the last vestiges of my reputation, I am prepared to see that such ill element is out once and for all. We don't want that. But if it is being done peacefully, man to man, not with these correspondence which have got no meaning whatsoever, not with lies and allegations, then it should be done. But the change has got to be brought in. And a change will inshallah come. And it will come in good time. And it will come with the cooperation of all those mu'mineen who are willing to collaborate. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.